2002. It was a pretty ordinary, dirty shipbuilding town in Scotland. It went around the world looking for a model. They chose a way of doing things which is now TEL has modelled, and in 2002 Glasgow got awarded Cultural City of Europe. That is the destiny for Townsville in a different way. And if we look at what has already been achieved, cities, like people, go through their lives coming to crossroads. And I guess the last real crossroad we had was probably the Strand, where it then allows you to take a different path in life, and Townsville has done that. We're adding to that with the Jazeen project, and it is about creating, giving the city pride, giving it a new look, and a bit like in spring when you change your furniture around and you do a bit of painting in your house, it freshens the thing up again and you have a whole new refreshed attitude to life, and that's what Townsville has had. The potential of this city is enormous. It is now regarded widely as the second capital of Queensland, and it does that not just because of its economic credentials, and it does have an acknowledged broad economic base, but it has always had a very strong cultural base. The future will be, I think, adding to that arts and culture credential is a technology and information credential, which I think will take the city into the future. So when we talk about the city being based initially upon the strength of the port, and then it became a garrison city, and we have the largest army base in Australia, and it's a huge component to our economy, we also have underpinning that a long and rich history of arts and culture. Without mentioning any, missing some, but world acclaimed culture and arts product like Dance North, the Australian Festival of Chamber Music, and dare I say it, if you go back to the 70s and 80s, the Stage Door Theatre restaurant, which most of you won't know, but for those who do, that is part of our cultural history, and I wish it was back tomorrow, but we might get it back one day. But I think we tend to forget that we are now, Townsville is now very much a metropolitan city, probably one of the most metropolitan regional cities in Australia, and arguably the strongest with regards to its diversity. So not only do we have that diverse economic base, which has held us in good stead because we tend to grow at about 8 to 9% per year, year in, year out for the last 10 years, when most cities, if they're growing at all, may grow at about 3 to 4% if they're doing really well. So it stood us in good stead, but underpinning that is the fact that we do have this diverse cultural base that probably we're not as well acknowledged for, but we need to be better acknowledged for in the future. And that acknowledgement will come just by performance, just by doing things right. So I guess the future challenges for this community is to make sure that we cultivate that cultural appetite that we have, but also the ability that we have to provide those diverse cultural things. So photography is and graphic arts critically important. Being able to play in the same field as our capital city counterparts is the challenge that we have. Having lived in Melbourne for nearly 9 years before I came back to Townsville in 2003, I can tell you that the quality of the people we have here is as good as anywhere around the country. And I've lived in other capital cities and also other regional cities. And Honey, you talked about Cairns. There's this byplay that goes on between Townsville and Cairns. Let me tell you, I don't purvey that one bit. I've lived in Cairns. Cairns has what it has. It is acknowledged, and rightly so, as the tourist capital of regional Queensland. No doubt about that. They've worked hard to get there. They deserve it, and they need to encourage that. What their challenge is to make sure that they also underpin their reliance upon that sector of the community with stronger industry base, and also their own arts and culture. And we encourage them to do that. We work closely with Cairns, despite what people might say. We actively work closely with Cairns because there's lots that we can get out of Cairns from the tourist industry, and they can get out of us with arts and culture and sporting events. So where we can, we team up, and we're doing that at the moment. We've got a couple of projects in the tourism industry that we're teaming up and doing collaborative projects with Cairns, particularly on the drive market, where the international travellers are flying into Cairns, how we can get those international travellers to drive down the coast. A little bit of concern is the fact that there's going to be an influx of Chinese tourists coming to Cairns doing a drive program down to Townsville, so we need more off-ramps in that main road so we can get out of the road. Anyway, that's a different issue. that's great for our economy. But getting back to our performing arts, as I said, it's not just about performing arts and visual arts, but very much the technology arts for the future. And I think this city's got a wonderful potential to achieve, if not in a regional sense, to achieve against major capital cities with the quality of what we can produce. And some of those artists I know are in this room today, and some of them are Australian acknowledged, and some of them have international acknowledgement for the quality they do. Let's keep it going, and let's bring Townsville to the fore as the most creative regional city in Australia.